TH4 True Health Forever podcast, where we empower your physical, social, spiritual, and economic health. Consume this content every week with positive energy and good intentions. Join me, Devon Truvel, creator of Black Wall Street, the board game, and my starlit queen, Sinclair, the health nerd, and share this with those you love. You are strong, you are beautiful, and you are ready to live your best life. Sinclair over here trying to get in trouble before a podcast. I ain't got time for your foolishness now, Sinclair. I ain't got time for your foolishness. But what's going on, beautiful people? Welcome back to another amazing episode of the True Health Forever podcast. I'm your host, Devon Truvel, creator of Black Wall Street, the board game. And for the first time, I have with me the beautiful, the glorious, the brilliant, the 28-year-old Sinclair. Welcome to the stage. Introduce your brand new self.
Hello, world. My name is Sinclair, aka the health nerd. I'm 28.
Yes, you are. And fun fact, as y'all probably know if you've been rocking with us, our birthdays are 5 days apart.
Yeah.
Well, 1 year and 5 days apart. No, 361 days apart. There we go.
Yes.
So for most of the year, I'm a year older than her. And I'm pretty adamant about calling her a young buck, a baby, you know, all that stuff. But for these 5 days,
Can't say nothing.
can't say nothing.
Can't say nothing.
So she looks forward
We're
to
the
these
same
days.
age.
So she looks forward to these 5 days with great intent. But Queen, before we get into the episode today, please hit them with the did you know?
Well, did you know that shortening your eating window to 8 to 10 hours in a day can help you regulate your blood sugar and burn fat? And the reason why is that after you eat, especially carbohydrates, your body breaks it down into glucose. It enters your bloodstream, and insulin's job is to take that glucose and bring it to your cells. Think about insulin as like a neighbor who's supposed to bring you your mail or something like that, right? But what can happen if we're eating all throughout the day? Insulin's constantly on the job. All day, they're like, hey, you got some more mail. Hey, you got some more mail. Hey, you got another piece of mail, right? And eventually you're going to be like, I'm good. We can wait till tomorrow. I don't need the mail right now. And that's kind of what happens if you're eating throughout the day and insulin's always on the job. It basically, your cells start to lose sensitivity for insulin, and that creates insulin resistance. And then that can lead to blood sugar problems and trouble losing fat and burning fat. So if you shorten your eating window to 8 to 10 hours, even if you're starting out, you could start out with 12 hours and shorten it, gradually. But that is a good way to give insulin a break from having to grab that glucose and bring it to the cells.
There you go. That is your did you know? Now, huh?
I can feel something coming.
No. I'm just gonna say. Now, as y'all know, it's my job.
It's like making it hard for you
to somehow tie in what she comes up with for the did you know, which I don't know until live, right? Y'all are hearing it when I hear it. I need to connect that somehow to our message today. And what I'm coming with is, you said shortening the window of what you're consuming, right? Something like that. When you're consuming. I'm going to apply that to shortening the window to when you're consuming outside thoughts about yourself or about how you see yourself, right? We're constantly consuming stuff on podcasts, watching TV, on social media, through text messages, tweets. We're constantly consuming information that's defining how we see the world and how we see ourselves. So much so that when we start to give ourselves messages, we're insensitive to that message. Right? Because we've gotten thousands of messages saying that this is what beautiful is. We've gotten thousands of messages that says that this is what success looks like. So when I tell myself I'm beautiful, my mind doesn't believe it because I don't look like what I've seen 1,000 times already. I'm insensitive to it.
Come on, King.
So
come on, King.
Listen, I do this transition game. So what we got today is we got you done?
That was good. Sorry.
That's good. Yeah. Thank you. I'm proud of myself too. Teamwork. But we got someone where when I first met him, I'm not going to say the way that I first met him, but when I first met him, oozing confidence. I feel like this man may be the most confident person I've met. The only person that may beat him is brother Ona Power. Ona Power is also a very confident person from the get-go. But yeah, when I first met him, he was very confident, and he's built a brand around the idea and the concept of being confident in yourself and being the anomaly in your circle, in your community. So I'm very excited to bring my brother back on here. Or this is his first time on the podcast. Huh. Yeah, I'm excited to bring my man on here to talk to y'all about self-confidence. Queen, are you ready?
Are you ready for some podcast?
All right, we're out. All right, she was about to do a remix for y'all. There you go, Jye. Welcome, welcome.
What's good? What's good? Happy to be on. How y'all doing?
Hey, blessed. Can't complain over here. Do you so I don't know if you heard my intro that I gave for you, but you being the most confident person that I've met, do you find that surprising, or are you like, yeah, I get that a lot?
I mean, I think to hear you say it that it was like your first kind of thought about me, like at that moment in time, I guess is surprising. Now maybe not so much. I've kind of built myself up a bit to where like I'm more confident in myself and just know that the work that I've done is gratified. So it's dope to hear that you saw it before I saw it, I guess you could say.
Thank you. Thank you. So for the folks that don't know you, right? Can you give a little introduction? I know you repping the IE Prowls, another thing I learned about you early, but go ahead and let the folks know who you are, where you're from.
Most definitely. So my name is Jye Citizen. 23. I am from the Inland Empire, born and raised in probably every city within the Inland Empire. Yeah, I'm the oldest of 4 children, so I've been the oldest all my life. Kind of just always been the first one to do everything, and that's kind of how I live my life. Just got to be the trailblazer in my family. So that's a little bit about me.
Love it. So let's dive right into self-confidence, right? Because I feel like self-confidence is something that I've dealt with. I know the Queen dealt with. And I feel like a lot of this people in general deal with. How do you feel confident in this world when you can so easily compare yourself to all these other people, so much peer pressure and all of that? So I want to start maybe high school Jye, middle school Jye, 5-year-old Jye. I don't know when your confidence kicked in. But what was the thing that made you feel like you were the anomaly, that you were different? And how did you start to build your confidence in that?
Right. So I knew. So being from the IE, specifically Corona, Riverside, there's not a lot of Black folks, more specifically in Corona. So my high schools were predominantly Latino or white. I was of the minority as per usual. So I knew I was different from the jump, whether that be, elementary school is probably like when I really started to understand the world around me. So I knew that I was different from everybody else. And that was with me through all the way through high school. And I think in high school is where I really started to dive into understanding that me being different than everybody really sets me apart. And that's something that I should be confident in. I didn't really have, like I said, a lot of people that looked like me really in my inner circle. So I was always like the outcast until I sat in who I am and really like nourished that confidence and kind of built it up. But yeah, I would say maybe junior year of high school is when I really started to understand like who I was and how to understand who I am and be confident in that and not necessarily let outside or any extrinsic factors really like tarnish my view of myself. So yeah, most definitely.
I like that. Queen, I'm gonna ask you the same exact question. I just asked him in a second, so get your answer ready on when you started to build your confidence, or when you kind of felt like you were the anomaly, or outside of the community. But Jye, you said something I really liked. You said it was high school where you really started to nourish what made you different, and you sat in it. Can you talk
Right.
about what that process was like? And I know it's been a couple years since high school, but can you talk about like what was that process of sitting back and really sitting in, this is what's different, whether it's your blackness, your athleticism, being a male in your environment, whatever it was, and how did you nourish those things that made you different?
Oof, that's a heavy question. I think so to start, kind of what we spoke about earlier, I'm more of like the introvert naturally. So I'm also very observant about the world around me. And so I'm also very self-observant. So I think kind of just kind of seeing how I fit in the world initially, right? Just like knowing that I am the black kid,
Mm,
and knowing how my parents raised me to always like being being a person of color, being black in general, I have to do everything um, better than somebody else just to
Mhm.
be at
yep,
somebody else's like average day, right?
yep.
So having that knowledge and kind of just sitting in that, I was just like, okay, um, I'm the only one in my general area when I'm not at home that's going to build myself up, right? So I got to understand that I am all these good things. I am intelligent. I am, athletic. I am black, right? So I have all these things backing me. So I think just understanding and kind of analyzing each of those different like each of those characteristics about myself, and really appreciating them enough to really internalize them, I think is where I was able to like sit with it and be like, wow, these is what make me great. This is what sets me apart, not necessarily what makes me the outcast, but really just what sets me apart from the group, and more in a positive way rather than a negative way. And I think that's especially like middle school, early high school is what I saw is really negative. Like, dang, I'm not them. I can't be them. So now it's like, let me just sit with what I have and build on that. So
Yeah, I love that. I feel like that's an experience that a lot of kids growing up in the IE or maybe the suburbs outside of Atlanta or outside of Dallas or outside of PG County. Like if you're in the suburbs and other parts, you're gonna be the minority in that group. But Queen, I know you also were raised in the IE, possibly had a similar experience. You want to talk about yours?
Yeah, so similar experience and answer kind of. Um, Also grew up in predominantly white and Latino community. Um, and so going to, and also on top of that, being like, you know, in at a really young age, like put into the gifted programs and then, and all the AP classes and honors and all that stuff. It's like even a more narrower, I'm like the
Mm,
one of maybe two, maybe three in a good, year, a good class,
mm,
black students. So I definitely always felt different in that way.
mm,
And I think, excuse me, I
mm,
think I really started to notice that in middle school, um, that I was different in the typical, like, kind of making me feel like I wasn't black enough, quote unquote,
mm,
because I didn't, I remember distinct experience where like everybody was laughing and I walked over and they were like, like you wouldn't get the joke type thing. And I'm like,
mm,
okay, cool. So I think like that started getting into my head. I'm like, okay, I'm different somehow. Like, yeah, I'm black, you're black, but we're different.
mm,
You're telling me we're different. Um,
mhm,
so I think that was part of what started to make me feel different. And then I think going into high school and I think tying into this and kind of forming my identity too is also being a competitive dancer, because
mhm,
also being a black girl in that world is a whole nother podcast.
mm,
But also, yeah, being um different body wise, built different,
mm,
having different feet, like my feet are really flat, and that was
mhm,
always pointed out in like in dancers world. You want like super flexible feet that can like point to the ground, and that
mm,
was not physically possible for my feet no matter how much I tried to stretch them. And so but anyways, that I think that just also poured into me feeling very different all the time.
mm,
And I think that in high school, I don't know exactly what grade, but at some point I did start to like let me own that a little bit. And like, because what it did allow me to do in high school, and I think that's why I did become so successful, quote unquote, in high school, in your typical way that you think, like good grades and
mm.
knew a lot of people. I got along with everybody.
I'm Sinclair. I'm so cool.
Whatever, but I did. So and it's because I had a breadth of interests. And I think that that's what allowed me to feel different. And from once I started owning that is when I started to like branch out into different like friend groups, and like I joined the hip hop team, and that got me this friend group over here, and then I had this class over here, and like, okay, maybe I don't take in this course, like I took like a regular economics course, and that was opened me up to a whole new group of people, and like I was able to get along with everybody, and I know that that's not something that everybody was able to do. But anyways, I feel like this is a really long-winded way to answer the question, but
I was going to cut you off, Queen. I wanted you to have your moment. I know that was a good process to go through, but I love that you said you embraced it, and that what helped you build your network.
Yeah.
Right. Embracing these different parts of you that make you different. I feel like hip hop dance was a thing that you were really able to embrace that made you different, and you were better than all the other people that were classically dancing, because you can do classical dance and you can do hip hop, but they were in their own bag, right? So passing it back over to Jye, we see that the Queen, kind of used her differences to go into dance and other things. I know you propelled your difference, or you propelled your idea of being different into an entire brand. Can you maybe introduce people to what Anomaly is? I'm still trying to figure out what SCF stands for, to be honest. So if that's not a secret, go ahead and let me know what that stands for too.
Got you.
Yeah, what's Anomaly all about?
Yeah, so actually, in high school, right, I was always a good writer, and I was writing a paper, and the word anomaly came about, right? That's actually where I first heard of the word anomaly. Was in high school, and I was like, wow, this is me. Where I am in life right now, this is me, right? So fast forward to college, second year of college, post becoming Sigma Man and everything like that. I'm more built up. I have more of a community around me. I have more people feeding me great ideas and how to articulate certain thoughts. So Anomaly initially started as I wanted it to be like a space where people can be creative and kind of just let their creative minds be free, right? So like it was going to be like a blog, right? So where people can post their different writing pieces, poetry, articles, whatever they feel like. And then I was later inspired by Markel to kind of turn that into clothing, because I also, growing up, I was also one of the ones that like, I wanted to customize my own Vans. I wanted to have everything different from everybody else. I would have different shoelaces that didn't come with the correct shoes or something like that. So I always wanted something that was my own. And I think clothing was kind of the creative medium to allow me to explore that. And so building that up into a brand. So now today, Anomaly is a lifestyle brand with the main goal to inspire creativity and individuality amongst Black and Brown youth. And we do that through multiple mediums, the main one being clothing. But we also do, like I said, articles, blogs, poetry, podcasts as well, which we're starting up, but we'll talk about that later. And then, yeah, so I knew from the jump that it was going to be a slow working process. I knew from the jump that I wanted to inspire the people that come behind me, because growing up in the IE, I didn't have anybody that looked like me that was doing exactly what I was trying to do. So I'm trying to be that person where they can look to and be like, oh, he did it. I can do it. Let's run it. Right. So that's the main idea behind it. And like I said, while I was in college, I knew it was going to be a slow growing process. I was a student athlete, didn't have much time or money to devote to it. So I knew it was going to be like a natural growth, and that's kind of where we are now. But to your SCF point, so my late grandmother, she passed in 2016 to cancer. God bless her soul. She was a great human being, but she was really one of like the first people that kind of understood me, I guess. And she's also, her huge thing, right, is like she was really into games, like family game night. She was really good at keeping the family together, right? Like, oh no, we're gonna play this game on Saturday at this time because we need to join a communion, right? And so she would always, her thing, she would always say, like when she was acting crazy or when somebody's acting crazy, she would say, oh, you're stone cold crazy. So then I switched that and was like, I'm a stone cold fool. So that's what SCF stands for, stone cold fool. And yeah, so there's like a lot of things actually in the brand that you'll see, like the dice that's paying tribute to her. Just different little things, SCF, that's to her, and a lot of our passwords and stuff like that to her. So yeah, it's just one of those things.
Yeah, I love that. Beautiful Easter egg right there, right? To the legacy. I love that.
Yep.
Cool. A follow-up, or you want me to tackle it?
I guess so. You've mentioned a couple of times that you started this business in college and not having a lot of time or not having a lot of money. Um,
Right.
I, I don't know that I could fathom starting a business with in college, and I wasn't even a student athlete. So like, how did you even like that? Even itself takes a lot of confidence to say like,
Mhm.
I'm going to start a business right now. Like, how did
Right.
you get to the point? Like, what led you up to like, I'm actually going to start a business while I'm in college and doing all of this stuff? Like, what gave you that confidence? Was it a person? Was it like a podcast? Like, what kind of made you like, okay, I'm going to start this business while I'm in college and build it slowly, as I go.
Yeah.
It was a few things, a few people. One of them, I was bored, right? I was to keep it quite frank, to keep it
That one
frank,
comes
like being a D1 athlete, especially from the jump, you're not going to get a lot of playtime, right? So I was just bored. I wasn't necessarily like 100%, like I wasn't a starter, so I wasn't necessarily, my brain wasn't fully there. And then with school, not to like to my own horn, but school was never super difficult for me. So I just wanted something to where like I was just bored. So I just wanted something where I could really dive in and tap into creativity. Now I didn't know what that was at the time, but the two, I would say two main people that really like inspired me to do that. One being Mr. Devon himself, and the other one being Markel Johnson. Just one, when I first met Devon, he pulled up, suit, booted. He had his stuff. He had his game ready to go. He was thinking about TH4. Had his camera ready to go. He was just a man of action, getting his plan going, and he was just on top of it. He was like, I need to do what's next. And then so that inspired me. And then Markel, I remember we were at step practice and he won a scholarship, and it was actually Devon told him that he should invest that in himself. He's creative, right? And I was like, dang, I feel like I could do something like that. So then we sat down, chopped it up, figured out what I really wanted to do, and I'll never forget that conversation. It was in my room, and that's kind of how we laid the groundwork of Anomaly. And yeah, that's really what the inspiration was. And also, like I said, just wanting to inspire those that came behind me, because I will forever be grateful for the for the black men in my life and black women, but having a black man in my life that has really showed me what I can be, and even more. So that's something that I strive to be.
Love that.
Love that. Love that.
And I commend you for taking action on the conversation that you had with Devon, because there's a lot of people who he pours into that,
Yeah.
they let themselves get in the way, or they let life or whatever get in the way. But you took that and you were like, I'm actually going to go start this business and make it happen. So I commend you for that for sure.
Oh yeah. And for following up, first of all, thank you for the shout out. Always feels my cup. Like, it's dope to see just dope people, right? You're out there doing really dope stuff. Obviously, Markel's out there doing really dope stuff. And it's just always humbling the fact that y'all still remember, like, oh yeah, Devon, he gave me this. Whoop de whoop de whoop. Now I do want to see if you remember this. Now y'all know, as Josh said, I am a man about action, but I'm also a man about this is something that my big brother taught me, is the whole fake it till you make it situation.
Mhm.
So I will look so professional, and I will have everything set up to a T, like a corporation is supposed to be set up, but it might not all be there, right? So for those that don't know, Jye was our first TH4 intern.
Yeah.
This was back in 2017, 16, 17. I was not sure if you remember which year, Jai, but this was back when TH4 was just getting started. I met him. He become a man, and I was like, all right, cool. I got this business. You're into sports and marketing. How about you join the team as our sports marketing intern? Made that up, right? The sports marketing intern. Join the team. Had a whole application set up, had a whole job letter, offer letter. We met at a restaurant in Rancho Cucamonga that what's the first one we just went to? Nico's, or
the Peruvian?
yeah, the Peruvian spot.
Right?
Yeah, the Peruvian spot, I think. But yeah, I feel like it looked real professional and set up. Long story short, I felt like one of the things that helped, you said, was, just being exposed to business and kind of helping us out, writing blogs, getting exposed to business. I know we talked a lot about tax deductions and all that type of stuff. This is in college. You did an internship for free for a company that had one employee at the time, right? So can you just talk about the importance of being willing to get experience, right? Being willing to get down on the ground and get experience that is being offered to you. Obviously, not all opportunities are good opportunities, but I feel like sometimes in college, people are like, no, if I'm gonna get an internship, it needs to be paid. It needs to be with Nike. It needs to be with Google. But it's like you can still get your foot in the door working for some of these smaller companies that maybe your friends or family are starting. So can you talk a little bit about that, please?
Yeah, so I think just from the jump, I guess again, like I I saw you, right? And I just took it in. So I was like, there's just no way that this can be a negative experience for me. Right. So
Mm,
just and I remember I reached out, and I don't know if you remember this, but I reached out to our chapter group me, and I was like, does anybody know of any internships? And you hit me and you were like, hey, look, I don't know if you're looking like something like this, but I don't know how professional it's gonna be, but we can set it up and we can make it look real. We can do what we need to do and get you set up. And I was like why would I not? You know?
yeah,
So and I remember when you sent like the kind of not the contract, but like the internship guidelines. And I was like, oh, yep, I'm ready. Let's do this. This is game time. This is real.
yeah,
And so I think the importance of diving into, and I think it's more important is especially with smaller businesses too. I think it gives you a deeper insight of like the real business itself. Because I feel like if you're in the big corporations, you're very much so on, yeah, it's just like, hey, go do this, blah blah blah. You're not in the big meetings. But we, like you said, we sat down at the restaurant. It was a business expense. I remember you explained how that worked. And then and then we were just chopping it up, like you said, about taxes, about different ideas, about what I want to do. I sat in on the board game, and we played at that one spot with the dude. It was
yeah.
just, I think being with you and like you being, like you said, the one employee, it just gave me so much more insight, right? I wasn't like, if I was with Nike, I wouldn't be able to sit down in a big meeting with the CEO of the company and
Mm,
have lunch and just talk about regular stuff like, oh yeah, did you know you could write this off because it's a business expense? I'm doing this because yeah, it's just, I wouldn't have gotten that. I wouldn't have received that information, and I wouldn't, so I think just being able to I guess break down those social walls of, oh, I need to be with the big companies, it allows you to grow more. And I think people should feel comfortable and confident in diving into those so-called smaller situations, because those allow for the most growth, in my opinion.
yeah.
So
Agreed.
yeah,
I don't know who won that game. We were that was I think that
can't
might have been in
remember.
Rancho too.
Yeah, that was in
Was that
Rancho.
did you win
It was
that?
me. I can't remember. I can't remember. It was me, you, and that one dude from, he's doing the review on the board game, and I can't remember who won, but I remember playing because yeah.
Uh,
Hmm.
yeah, that was fun. That was I think his name is Ruel. And he was there was a prototype of the game.
Yep.
This is while we were in the incubator, and this was just like a
I
gamer who
remember
someone told me to
this.
reach out
You
to.
talking about that.
Huh. Remember, see, Jai's been down for a minute. We appreciate you, Jai.
Yeah.
So, what has been the biggest lesson that you've learned while
Mhm.
running your business? Talked about learning a lot of things. What's
Right.
maybe through a mistake you've made, or just a piece of advice you've gotten from somebody? What is the biggest lesson you've learned so far?
Mm, dang, there's a few. I would say I'm gonna touch on a few. From
Yeah.
the jump, I would say, um, do your research for yourself and know how to set your business up correctly. Know what needs to be paid, when it needs to be paid. Know who you're paying it to, and just have your ducks in a row. Right. Just have that background, real business stuff in a row. So then now you can focus on what you really love. Right. Because if you stress yourself out with, like I said, all the background tax stuff, I got to pay this, LOC, whatever, it's gonna tarnish your energy and your drive to want to do what you really love. And I think if you just handle that from the get-go and kind of just have it all ready to go, that's where you can really just explore your true self, your creativity, and what you really want to do. And I think that's something I learned early on, probably in the first year, like, oh, I need to just knock this out now so that I can focus on really what I really want to focus on. So that's a huge thing. And then also not being afraid to listen to people that have similar experiences you, that have gone through it before. So like me listening to you guys or listening to Markel and just taking that and just soak it in, and just never be too high on yourself. Like never be too overconfident to where it's like, oh, I don't need to listen to this. I have this already in the back pocket. No, just sit there, soak it up. You may not need it. You may need it. It may not even click right then. It may click in a few months later, like, oh, that's what he was talking about. That's what they were talking about. So it's like, don't, you know what I mean? Just don't let your ego get the best of you. Just really just soak in and listen. Even if they're older than you, if they're younger than you, they have something that you probably haven't experienced that you might need to soak in. So that's one of the huge things. Just don't be too overconfident to where you feel like you don't need that outside help.
Nice. If you're just tuning in, we got Jye Citizen, the founder, vision behind Anomaly SCf. Go ahead and follow them at Anomaly SCF. Stone Cold Fool underscore. So that last piece that you said is an interesting balance, and this is something that I've asked, I think, Overland when she came on the podcast. But you mentioned not being overconfident and not letting your ego or your own kind of pride get in the way of getting help or possibly other things as well. But you're also not naturally, you've also groomed yourself to be a confident person. So
Right.
how do you balance that being confident but being humble, right? That being confident but not being a jerk, right? I feel like sometimes that confident package isn't as pretty as you think, right? But you wear it well. Well done, sir. So what are the things that you've done to just keep that balance of confidence but still humility?
I think just understanding that I don't know everything. And that was something instilled for me, like from the jump. My mom always told me, like, be strong, but be humble. And that was mainly like when I started playing sports. She was like, be strong. Like, no, you're the strongest out there. No, nobody can really mess with you. But understand that you may come against somebody that has more experience or is bigger than you. So be confident in what you have, but understand that you don't know everything in the world. There may be something out there that's just like, you don't quite know this yet. I'm slightly better than you at the moment, right? So it's just having that understanding that I don't know everything, right? But being aware enough and confident enough to know that your preparation and knowledge that you do have is good enough for you right now, and to tackle what you need to tackle.
Beautiful.
I think it's like that, the line that you're talking about. I think part of it is what he was saying about just being able to listen. I think if you are confident versus overconfident, if you're confident, you know your stuff and you know that you have the ability to filter, right, what you listen to know that like that's either going to be helpful for me or not. But I feel like you're overconfident when you've gotten to the point where it's like, I don't even need to listen to you because I know everything there is to know about life, says no one.
Right.
But I'd like, oh, you're younger than me, so I don't need to listen to you, or you're X, Y, or Z, so I don't need to listen to you. I feel like that's where the overconfidence comes, because you're just missing out on a whole slew of knowledge that could have been helpful. So I think that's one of the lines right there, is like, as long as you're still able to listen, take it in, and then figure out like that this is either helpful for me or no, it wasn't helpful for me, but at least I got to listen to what they said. I feel like that's a line.
I agree with that. I'm trying to get better at that, because I feel like when I hear knowledge, I want to apply it. But yeah, I need to get better at what you said and what Jye said, is like, you can hear something, you can understand something, but decide not to use it.
Right.
And that's okay. I like that.
Right.
Okay. So speaking of getting additional knowledge, Jye, I would like to welcome you to our Ask Declare segment. What's funny, Quinn?
The segue.
My segues are so good. Like I don't if there was a podcast award for
Oh my
segues,
God.
this man right here would get the gold. That's all I'm
Speaking of
saying.
overconfident.
But so this is our Ask Declare segment where you have a chance to go ahead and ask us any questions about business, about health, or about our relationship journey. So feel free, the floor is hit us with some questions.
I've been waiting for this.
Oh, okay, hold up now.
Nah, I guess my main thing, and it's not about any, I guess, area in particular, but it's more so just like a holistic overview. So I know just kind of living like we both own businesses, like I know there's days where you don't want to do something or you just don't have the energy or you just, you know what I mean? There's going to be those off days, those down days. We all have them. They're, you know what I mean? So how do you, during those off days, those down days, how do you remain consistent? And is there like one key thing? Is there a few things that you have to do? Is there a routine? It's like, oh, I just got to jump in and then I'll be like, then that switch will flip. Like, yeah, how does that look for you?
That is a great question. Queen, am I going first?
Go for it.
Okay. Well, as a bona fide self and queen applied workaholic, though those days are far in between. But I think when I do have those days, what helps is really the exercise. I feel like if I can get up and get a good workout in, and sometimes my daily exercise changes. Sometimes it's the 100 push-ups, sometimes it's squats, sometimes it's taking a walk with the queen. But usually after I have an exercise or have a good workout, I'm good to go about the rest of the day. Now I do have like bare minimum stuff that I need to do just to for myself to feel productive. Right now during the week, it would be waking up at 5:45 a.m., hopping on an accountability call, reading 5 pages in whatever book I'm reading at the time, doing my 100 push-ups, and then sending 5 emails per week to schools. That's my goals right now. Everything I do outside of that, like including editing the podcast and other stuff, if I'm feeling lazy, I might not do it, or I'll do it like while watching TV. That's my lazy treat for myself. But yeah, I have those kind of 4 or 5 minimum things that I do every single day, at least Monday through Friday, that help keep that momentum going. Queen?
I have more days than Defonda's of like waking up and like, no, not feeling it today.
This ain't it.
Nah, not today. And I'm evolving into getting better at how to deal with those. I think before I would just allow myself to not do anything all day. But now I'm trying to get into the consistency mode. So doing something for one of our businesses every day. So whether it's, oh, I'm cooking some meals, or I'm working on a recipe, or I'm sending an invoice, or I'm sending an email, doing something every single day just so that I don't fall out of the consistency mode, because it's very, I know myself and I know it's very hard for me to get back into it once I'm out. And so I think even if I do catch myself like, oh, I didn't do much today, the next day I will get up and do stuff, because you can't let it be 2 days in a row. That's when that's when it starts to become the norm again. And then it's really hard to get back on the wagon. So I've even like Friday was my birthday, and I told myself like, oh yeah, you're gonna relax and chill. Then like towards the end of the day, I was like, no, you're still going to wake up and get on your 7 a.m. accountability call, and then you have an email to send. So I did wake up and get that stuff done. And then I still had the rest of the day to chill and do what I wanted. So it still felt like, oh, okay, I get to like relax and take my entrepreneurship hat off for a second. But I felt good about like, I got what I needed, the bare minimum I needed to get done. I got that done in the morning. So I think that's kind of my happy medium that I'm going into, is like at minimum do, even if it's one task, like just do something to say that you did something to progress yourself today. So yeah, I think I'll just give myself more leniency on what that one task is, on those days when I don't feel like doing something, or I don't feel that productive mode. I'll just, allow myself like, okay, allow that one task to be send this follow-up email, but it's doing something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dope.
Um real small follow-up, and then if you got more for us, feel free. But I feel like my laziest days are the days where I have the most to do.
Hmm.
Like, well, when that to-do list is just
Daunting.
overwhelming, that cup is it's just daunting, right? And it's like, yeah, I got so much to do. Those are the days where it's like I don't know where to start, so I may just not do anything that day. And I think it was something, I think you said this to me before, like, you said it on a webinar. You're like, oh, as long as you do one thing per day, or you get one thing, and I really took that. So it's like, okay, write down your one thing that you want to accomplish today. Everything else is extra, but if you can accomplish one single goal, what would it be? Is it the 5 emails? Is it emailing Jye to make sure he has the outline for today? Is it talking to Jye? Like, just what is that one thing that you want to accomplish? And usually that makes it easier, because that one thing only takes like 5-10 minutes when you actually write it down. All right,
I'm trying to get him better at the working all the time. It's not working.
Right. It can't always work. One more question. So my queen and myself, similar to you two, are very busy, right? So I guess one thing is like, how do you two maintain, I guess, that those moments where it's just you two, like maybe it's the romance, or it's like just the partner activities and things of that nature. Like, how do you, I guess, stay on top of that to where it's not just, oh, we're too busy, we can't do it, or oh, it's too busy, now we're starting to, I guess, drift away. Not, you know what I mean? Like, not necessarily like, oh, it's a overly negative thing, but maybe like something that can prevent that, as we're both starting to dive into this work life and really like this adult stuff, like not necessarily being in school. Now it's like, oh, I got a job, and our schedules aren't going to line up. So, yeah, how does that look like for you two?
adulting. So I want to hop in a few things. One, yeah, I'm gonna try to not work as much, but the thing is, I'm in a 5-way race to make $1 million first.
5 ways.
Yes, I'm
Wait, I know
racing
your dad?
my dad,
Markel.
Brandon, Kai, Markel, and I feel like there was one more person. Maybe it's just a 4-way race, but we're all racing to see who's gonna be the first to make an M. And so far, my dad's winning. So I gotta catch up to that man. So that's I'm working, I'm grinding. Because yeah, I got some catching up to do. We got 2 years. Wait for it. But the balance, I would say we've done a few things, and I think it can be better. And I'll be the main culprit of the tipping the balance to business too much sometimes. But I think we've done good at creating a culture around the relationship. For
Okay.
example, we have, whenever we leave the house and we come back, whether it's together, separate, when someone enters the home, the first thing or the first few things you should do, you should hug and embrace. Right? So even if we've had date night and we're coming back to the house together, we're first thing we do, hug, embrace. If I come home from work, I come home from the gym, before I leave the house as well in the morning, right? It can be 5:30 a.m. Before I leave the house, I gotta give her a kiss. If she's asleep, she probably doesn't even feel it. Sometimes I just like kiss right there on the elbow, or kiss like the leg, because she's all tucked away. So, like, before I leave the house, I need to make sure I acknowledge, embrace, put love, and then when you come back. So that's one. We had Friday date night set up, and I say had because when we moved, they kind of got remixed a little bit, and we need to get back on that, or I need to get back on that. But before, we had every Friday was going to be date night, right? And if you and your queen are in separate cities, maybe it's a Zoom date night, StreamYard date night, maybe it's some creative, but having those set times every week where it's like, this is our time, we're gonna be together, and then having those kind of cultural habits or triggers that you do within to embrace each other and show love to each other, something that helps for us.
I think prioritizing that time too. Like if you're right, your relationship is important to you, making that time a priority. Like, we've said no to things like, oh, could you want to go? Oh, do you want to go? Like, nope, sorry, it's date night. Like, some people be like, what? And it's like, but that it's important, right? It's important for us to have that time together, so we prioritize it. And then I think also just doing mundane, is that the proper way to say that? Mundane. Yeah, the mundane, like everyday things together is also something that is fun and kind of keeps the romance alive because
Like
it's
what?
different. Like going to the grocery store.
Oh, that's
Like
fun. What you talking about?
like something that is so like normal. Like we do make fun like at the grocery store. Like when we dancing in the aisles. Like we literally have, where were we? Just a couple days ago, we were standing in, I don't remember where we were, but he's good for like a slow dance anywhere. It doesn't matter where we are.
We were in Nothing But Cake picking up.
Yes.
Yeah, Nothing But Cake picking up her cakes, just dancing. And yeah, we went to go get food, just out to slow dancing.
Yeah. So it's like finding those everyday like random things to do together. We'll take walks, just walk around the block like once a day. Just those everyday things. Like it's cool to do those like date night or those big, extravagant things every now and then too. But it's also nice to just find the fun and the romance in the mundane things that you can do together. That's also fun. Like, oh, well, we both got to go grocery shopping so we can eat. So why don't we meet at this grocery store and go shopping together? And I don't know, stuff like that. I'm trying to think of other things that we did when we were not living together.
I'm gonna give you two gems right here, Jye.
Talk to me.
Listen, first, if you haven't already, take the 5 love language test.
Done.
Free. All right. What's your queen's love language?
It's crazy because it's literally the same all across the board except for physical touch.
Okay.
But I believe it's words of affirmation and acts of service.
Beautiful. So if you know those 2 things are the way that she feels love, words of affirmation, acts of service, build that into your culture, right? The fact that I call the queen is intentional because her love language is also words of affirmations, right? So, yeah, those names that you call her, how you affirm her, and then those acts of service, this is what I've done with the queen, right? I'm giving away all my secrets right here, queen. Right?
Listen in, y'all.
So this is what I find works for me. The queen is amazing at doing a lot of things, but intentionally cooking, amazing, planning trips, amazing. Those are the 2 things that she does well, but she also does that to show her love. So when it comes to acts of service, the things that I think she values the most are also when I cook a good meal and it's not out the jar. That's a whole nother story and all that stuff. But when I cook a really good homemade meal, which I'm doing today, or when I plan a trip and things don't go wrong, she really likes that. She knows that's what she does. So I would look to your queen and be like, what are the acts of service that she does for you, that she does really well, and that she does for other people? And how can you be like, okay, I'm going to do that for you. You sit down, you don't cook nothing, you don't worry about nothing. I'm gonna cook everything, right? And lastly, shout out to your mom. The queen doesn't know this, but your mom helped me plan the Costa Rica trip that I took you to for our anniversary.
Yes, shout out. That was fantastic.
Yes,
so tell her I said thank you.
Yeah, shout out to Queen Dawn, right? But yeah, those are my 2 gems for you, man. Like really look at what your queen loves to do for other people to show the love and flip that, do it for her.
That's good.
Thanks.
Right. That makes sense. That's valid. Appreciate that. Yeah, I just, it's just, we're still in college. I'm in grad school. She's finishing up, and we're in that weird like transition because like we're still apart. She's in Long Beach for the most of the time, and I'm at the crib. So it's just like and we're both busy. We both got long schedules, work, school, whatever. So it's just that weird transition period. Like we both know we're working. So like we appreciate that and understand that there's no like negative feelings towards that. It's just, we want to, like we said, prioritize that, like the culture around the relationship. So those are super dope tips. I appreciate it.
Yeah. I will say when I was living in like Port Hueneme and he was living here in Moreno Valley. The thing that I appreciated so much that it brought me to tears is when he surprised me and drove out for Valentine's Day. And I literally had no idea that he was going to come. But the fact that I think number 2 for me at that time, I think was either acts of service or quality time. But it was like both. So the fact that you got in the car after a long day at work, drove all the way there and cooked me dinner, I literally, like, when I walked in the door, I just started crying because I was so happy. So look, even like when you're not in the same place, that can be a very nice surprise too. Just like, when it's warranted, popping up like, hey, I thought about you. Here's a surprise. Here's a massage. Here's dinner. Here's whatever. That can go a long way as well.
Last one, because I love Jye. I love, right? So the fact that you asked,
I know.
I would say you're also in fashion, right? You literally make clothes for a living. I don't know if you've done this yet, but have you made her like a custom piece?
It's somewhat, but not to the extent that you're probably talking about.
There you go. I would say you can do a whole custom piece that either just for her, or it can be a whole like line that's dedicated to her. And I know y'all just going out, you're not queen yet, so that may be a big thing to put out there. But that's just another thing that you can do that kind of openly, shows that love. But yeah, you use your gifts. Like I made the Queen song. She's made dances for me, so I think that's also kind of cool to get pieces of each other's talent and culture and just have that have that memory is also dope.
Yep.
Whew, listen, we got a whole nother Black Love podcast episode next time. Getting back to kind of an anomaly, right? Something that I think you have a lot of love for, and we kind of just talked about how you can make a custom piece for the Queen. What is the vision for Anomaly? Right? We already kind of talked about you dipping into fashion. You teased the podcast out a little bit, so maybe we can dive deeper into the podcast now. But in 10 years, what is it that you see Anomaly being and doing?
Oof. All right. Well, I can start slow, and then I'll reach up to that 10-year point.
Beautiful.
So right now, so speaking about the podcast, we have the podcast coming back very soon. It's still like what's the word, in the just in the formation process. We're about ready to go, but basically what it's going to be revamped, and it's going to be more family oriented, as well as again, kind of giving those tips and giving that helpful advice to people that are in similar situations as us, but much younger. So it's going to be myself, my brother, and my aunt, who I said was coming down to live with us. And it's going to be the three of us. And she's like, when I say my aunt, she's basically like my big sister. She's only 7 years older than me. So we have a great relationship, the three of us. So that's what we're looking to build on. That's what the basis of the podcast is going to be. It's going to be called Off the Noggin. Keep your eyes out for it. But yes, we're going to be touching on everything, helping people out, specifically Black and brown people, like I said before, just helping our communities. And then, so that's the podcast coming soon. And then just as far as Anomaly in general now, it's expansion, I believe, both outside, both external and internal. Looking to bring a couple people into the team, because right now it's just myself and my brother. So looking to bring some people into the team, and then also just expand our reach, right? Just, that 10% of everything we do goes towards a scholarship fund. And we've reached the mark that we wanted to financially to now provide the scholarship. So we're literally, as we speak, formulating the scholarship format and everything like that, and what the students need to do. So just outreach into our community and slowly kind of bridge that, the gap between the brand and anybody else that hasn't really been influenced or touched by us yet. So just bridging that gap, reaching out, and just expansion. So that's what it is for right now. In 10 years, I would love for Anomaly to be the umbrella to a lot of things, whether that be investing in real estate, creating I don't know if I ever told you this, but my dream is to create a center where students, young kids, of all ethnicities, everybody is welcome. But again, like I said, the focus is Black and brown. But basically, create a center where they can be exposed to different art forms, whether that be writing, everything from writing to ceramics to graphic design, whatever. Bring professionals and experts in those areas and just like create master classes and things like that for the kids. So that's really where my head's at for the 10 years. Like I said from the jump, it's going to be a slow growing process, but we have a goal in mind, so that's where we're headed. And yeah, it's really just giving back to our community and setting us up for success moving forward. Just generational. So, and it's not just in family, it's like I said, the whole community. So generational wealth for the whole community is what we're looking for.
Love that.
Love it, right? And I like to, always talk about that 10-year vision because one, I feel like 10 years comes up faster than we think, right?
Right.
Well, we were just talking about you in high school when we first met, and that doesn't feel like it was that 5 years
4
ago,
years ago.
6 years, 4 years ago? Like, that doesn't feel
Yeah.
like long.
4 years ago, yeah.
Me and the Queen met over 10 years ago. Like, that doesn't feel
Yeah, that's crazy.
that long. So I love, just pushing you towards thinking about it. But two, I feel like when you are intentionally working towards the 10-year goal, you achieve the 10-year goal in 5 years.
Mhm.
Right? Think about what we said we wanted
Right.
to achieve. We're way past that already.
Mhm.
Right? So keep going. That physical space is there. Let's manifest that. Hopefully you want it to be in the IE so we can put 5 on it. Yeah. But I want to talk about, I know you're currently in grad school. Yeah, of course. Currently in grad school, getting, I believe, your MBA. Can you talk about maybe and Queen, feel free to think about yours as well, but what's like a real tangible lesson you've been able to take from your MBA, from your grad school knowledge, and start to either directly apply in business or like start to just test and tease out within your business?
Honestly, it's so I can speak about like different aspects, whether it be marketing, finance, accounting, whatever that may look like. But honestly, it's relationships.
Mm.
And that's something that our professors really preach to us, right? It's they want us to succeed in the class, so they're obviously going to teach us and aid us in grasping this knowledge. But their big thing is create those relationships with not only the students in your cohort, but with your professors, right? Like it's just you'll never know what doors can open if you're not knocking on them, right? So you just need to really like um, be open again, open to knowledge, open to listening, and open to building new relationships. And I think that's something that's huge. Like I reconnected with an old soccer coach of mine who has his own brand, and now he's giving me tips on things that can help spruce up our pop-up shop. Right? It's just creating those relationships, because if I didn't know him, I wouldn't have been led to the guy that helps us make this new tablecloth for when we go to pop-up shops. Right? It's just little things like that that can help spruce up your business, and just kind of carve your mind to where it needs to be. So I think that relationship building is a huge factor in success in pretty much any aspect of your life.
There it is. Love that. Queen, you got any parting questions for Brother Citizen before we head into our check-ins?
What's been your favorite piece you've created?
Ooh,
Piece of clothing that you've created?
I was ready for this question. So our newest pieces, we called it our Icy Winter Collection. We did 100% cotton fleece quarter zips, right? So, and with the Anomaly kind of script logo that my line brother Cam did for me. So these are some of my favorite pieces. Yeah, the color's great. We have our tag on the side. We have it on the back as well. You feel me? The zipper's gold and black, does the job, and then we have custom tags on the side. But I mean, obviously, you can't feel the fabric. But if you know, like a Nike hoodie or a Nike sweats, it's softer than that. So yeah, this is probably my favorite piece. I've always aimed for creating pieces that I would 100% wear, and what I wear is always like stylish, but I always put comfort first. I hate being uncomfortable but looking good, right? So, um, what I like is my always favorite thing was seeing how athletes or dancers dress, right?
Mm.
So like athletes, how they dress when they're not on the field. So like they have like the zip ups, the sweats, everything's comfy, but it
Mm.
looks dope though, right? Or how dancers dress when they're not necessarily like when it's just choreography, they got the sweats with the cool kicks and the dope little shirts. I think that's like the dopest thing. So that's kind of what I center my I guess design quality around. But yeah, so that's been my favorite piece, and that's pretty much the influence, I guess you could say, behind my design.
Mm. Do those come with bottoms?
They don't necessarily like if you buy them, but we do have sweats as well. I don't have any sweats up here because they are sold out.
You
But
could
yeah, they
probably
you know, so we did do a revamp of those sweats as well. Same
Mm.
fabric, much thicker, double stitching, so it's like they last longer. We're gonna have to bring those back because people obviously like them. But
Yeah,
yeah, so that's those are the bottoms to go with that.
here it is.
nice.
Got to get us a quarter zip.
Yeah, you might have to. I might have to. You know, your vision of the dancer. I might have to
I
throw on
told
one of
you
your
right there.
my videos, and to complete the vision.
Yeah, do you think?
You know.
Indeed, indeed.
So if folks want to go ahead and get themselves a quarter zip or any other anomaly stuff, where should they head to?
That will be www.anomalyscf.com. Just go to our shop tab and you can find everything there. We have all of our items, um, all categorized, great descriptions, sizing charts are there for you. And yeah, it's all there on our website.
There it is, www.anomaly SCF Stone Cold Fool. I'm gonna
Yes,
use that now.
indeed.
Now I know what it means. I was like, what is that? Go ahead and get yourself some swag, support the brand. Thank you, Jye. We appreciate you. We're gonna do some nice check-ins, nice little updates. Feel free if you have some personal stuff or business stuff you want to update folks on, you can hop in as well. Queen, since it was your beautiful birthday, let's go ahead and start with
Well, with me, we still got Queen to Queen weight loss program popping.
you.
Got the free discovery calls available. So definitely head to Queen, the number 2, queencoaching.com. Book your free discovery call. It is for a weight loss program and it's a personalized weight loss program where I help you identify the cause of your weight loss and then create a personalized protocol that will help you not only lose the weight, but keep it off. So for those of you who've been trying, the queens out there who've been trying, you've been cutting the calories, you've been working out, you've been doing it all, and you've been struggling, I hear you. This program is for you. And all you ain't got nothing to lose except 30 minutes of your life. So yes, come and book your free discovery call, and that's when we can talk about if this program is right for you. Last thing is we do have another free webinar coming up on February 16th. I think that's the right date. I'm pretty sure that's the right date. Wednesday. It's not this upcoming Wednesday, but the Wednesday after, February 16th at 5 p.m. We will have our next weight loss webinar. And I'm thinking I'm going to answer either one or two of the questions that came up in a Q&A post that I did this week. But if you have something you'd like talked about in this one or any future webinars, drop it in the comments. DM me or DM the True Health Forever page. Let me know what you'd like to see. What are you wanting to know about weight loss? What are you struggling with? I'm here to help. I'll talk about it on their next webinar. So let me know.
There it is, beautiful. While you were doing your trying, what came in my head
What?
was a meme or a video with the weight singing, I know you want to leave me, but I refuse to let you go. That's what I heard in my head. Jye, you got any update you got for the people that you want to share?
Yeah, why not? So like I spoke about earlier, we're doing a scholarship. We're going to be opening up a specific tab for people to donate, and that donation will go directly toward the scholarship. That will be coming soon, so be on the lookout for that. But if you are just like, oh, I need to donate now, feel free to DM me. The @ is right there. on Instagram, or you can DM Anomaly SCF _. Same thing. We can figure something out. But yeah, that'll be it for me.
So appreciate you. On my side, this has been a curriculum writing week.
Curriculum writing food.
Literally curriculum writing fool. As y'all know, one of my big goals for the year is to partner with 3 schools or educational systems to help get the game and the game curriculum into schools to reach more students. So we've been in a lot of back and forth meeting with some dope, heavy hitting districts. So hopefully some good news to come. You know, I don't like sharing stuff until the contracts has been, the ink has been dried, the checks have been cleared, the board games have been shipped. So hopefully the next 2 weeks we'll be able to share, but it's looking good, right? And this is a new business model that we're leaning towards, is a business model where instead of, you know, most of our income coming from individual customers, which technically last year was the first year where most of our income came from a school. Right? If we look at the breakdown, most of our income came from a school. So how can we take that business model and be more intentional and do it on purpose every single year? So yeah, really looking forward to that. In addition to that, y'all know we got the book coming out, Launch It, 7 Steps to Launch Your Business. What we're doing, thank you, Jye. See, appreciate you. Yeah. What we're doing is for my birthday, I am giving folks an early peek at the book where you can download the ebook, as well as being able to join the Launch It community for a deep discount as well. So if you go to Happy Birthday Truvel, thank you, Jair, appreciate you. If you go to Happy Birthday Truvel, TRUVEL, you can go ahead and get yourself the download as well as the physical pre-order of the book and join our weekly accountability calls, right? The Queen was already talking about, gotta wake up, gotta get on my accountability call.
Good.
Right? People making moves in there. You also get access to monthly masterminds and webinars and our Telegram community. So go ahead, go to happybirthdaytravel.com and be the first to wish me happy birthday by ordering yourself an ebook. Appreciate you. All right.
Fun fact.
Yes, Queen.
Completely unrelated. For the first year we dated, did you know that I really struggled remembering whether Truvel had 2 L's or 1?
That is very random fun fact.
Well, it's just, I mean, Truvel was, I was thinking like, oh man, remember when I used to struggle?
Yeah.
Yes.
You have
Like,
to like
is it
write
1
my
L
name.
or 2 L? Is it 1 L or 2 L? I can't. Yeah, it was stressful.
You kept that secret even after we got married. You're a strong soul, Sinclair. No problem. But that is what we got for y'all today, right? Be confident in who you are. Lean into the things that make you different, and don't be afraid to be the anomaly. Don't be afraid to take action in what makes you different. Jye, we appreciate you. And Queen, thank you for being my lovely, amazing co-host.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Of course. Thank y'all for tapping into the True Health Forever podcast, where we shall live our best life through the lens of holistic health. I'm your host, Devon Truvel, creator of Black Wall Street, the board game.
I'm Sinclair, aka the health nerd, 28-year-old here.
We hope y'all stay healthy. We hope y'all stay mentally wealthy. And of course, we hope y'all stay true.
Thank you for tuning in to the True Health Forever podcast. We hope you learned something valuable that you can take and implement into your life. Now, we've all heard that sharing is caring, and this podcast is no exception. If you enjoyed this episode, please share it with a friend, a family member, a coworker, a stranger walking down the street, anybody who you think can level up from this message. As always, we appreciate your support, and we'll talk to you next week. Be well.